Don't try to sneak into your room like that. I know what you've got behind your back. Records. More new records.
So this is kind of embarrassing, sort of, but I don't get embarrassed that easily. I got back from the Capitol Audio Fest in November, and the Blue Note Review Volume 3 was waiting for me. It had arrived while I was gone, but I didn't open it because what was more important was to get all of the videos finished from the Capitol Audio Fest. And that took a lot of work because I do these long-form videos and cut together all of these room visits and interviews, and it takes a long time. So I said to myself, I'll get back to the Blue Note version 3, number 3, as soon as I'm finished with that. And then I didn't. I never did. I put it away. I forgot that I had it. So I'm going to open it now. It probably would have been better if I had opened it before Christmas, because maybe it'll make for a good gift. I don't know, because I haven't opened it, but this is it. And, you know, I put up a notice on the Tracking Angle website that it was going to be available. And there were some negative comments because it said what was in the box, and people were saying, well, based upon the amount of money that it costs, you only get X amount of vinyl, and that's worth so and so much and so on. But that's not what this is about. You know, this is Blue Note is a relatively small label. I don't think a lot of people understand that. And if you do, that's great. But if you don't, it's only a few people that really run this company. It's a core group of people, small number, that run this company that has all this great catalog and all these new young artists that they sign. So it's got a combination of the heritage stuff and the new stuff, but it's only a few people. And so, you know, with Don Was at the top. And so they put, every so often, they put out one of these Blue Note in review boxes to sort of celebrate that they're still here. You know, Blue Note went through some really tough times over the years where it was almost out of business. It was bought up by another big conglomerate and then kind of left to sort of wallow and do nothing. And now Blue Note is a very vital and successful label, both because of the vinyl, the Tone Poet, you know, vinyl reissues and the classic series, and the new artists and all the excitement around the label. And so the value of this box, whatever is in it, is not so much that, well, let me put $1, let me monetize everything that's in it. It's more about the vinyl resurgence and the golden age of vinyl that we're in right now, which, you know, it will not last forever. It's gonna, I don't see an end to it anytime soon, but it's not gonna last forever. And so it's kind of like, while it's here, we should all be celebrating it. And this will eventually, at some point in the future, be an artifact of this era that for some people will be worth having and for others not, but that's okay. So let's see what's inside the Blue Note Review box number 3, okay? And there we go. All right, let's see what's in this box, okay? I like that it says Blue Note Review, and then you lift this up and it says, can you dig it? Well, let's see. Who said that? All right, we got to get the tape off here. I'm doing it on a table. When I opened the Beatles box, I ended up sort of throwing some of the stuff out. People got upset. I'm not going to throw anything. Oh, okay. So, let's see what you get. Truly, Madly Deep. Blue Note Review. Lee Morgan. All right. Let's remove the shrink wrap. All right, so let's see what's in this box. So, first we get a note. What took us so long to finish Volume 3? Who knows? Well, somebody knows. Crippling perfection? Supply chain issues? The nefarious jazz embargo of 2020, which I don't think any of us have ever heard of. None of the above? Thanks for waiting. Good things come to those who dig. And we do dig. As the man said, now's the time. Who said that? Was that Ornette Coleman? Who said that? Enjoy, Don Was. This is number 101. 0101 of 2000. It's an early number. Okay. So the first thing you get in this box is this canvasy, nicely presented double record set. Truly, Madly, Deeply, you get a play on words, Deeply Morgan, Blue Note Review. And this is a compilation of contemporary Blue Note artists covering tracks by the great Lee Morgan, and the gatefold includes the appropriately Blue Note-y typeface. And Jim Krosman, who's a Blue Note publicist, wrote this intro, which I have not read yet, so I can't tell you what it says, because I just opened the box. And you get a track, let's see, get Mr. Kenyatta by Chief Jean Atundi Ajua. Okay, I hope I pronounced it correctly, and if not, I'm excused as far as I'm concerned. Dear Sir by Joel Ross. This is written by Wayne Shorter, and a bunch of other players. Search for the New Land, Bill Frisell. Of course, that's a wonderful Lee Morgan record. And let's see, produced by Lee Townsend. That's interesting. Stop Start by Keon Harold. My pronunciation is probably not very good. Lee Morgan track. This is performed by Kim. Let's see what else we get here. Desert Moon, Derek Hodge, a Lee Morgan track. Derek Hodge is a bassist. The Procrastinator, Artemis. And let's see what else we got. All the Way, Chris Botti, who we all know. And Morgan the Pirate by Lee Morgan, written by Lee Morgan, and performed by Lee Morgan, Wayne Shorter, Herbie Hancock, Grant Green, Reggie Workman, and Billy Higgins. And that's quite a lineup right there. Mastered by Kevin Gray, Coherent, and with tone poet Joe Harley supervising, looking over his shoulder, looking over Kevin's shoulder and saying, no, 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 Kevin, do it this way, or not, I don't know. So this is proudly presented by the Blue Note Capital team. And understand, this is not a big, like I say, this is not a big company, Blue Note. So it's Don Was, Justin Seltzer, Rachel Jones, Jem Krosman, Melissa Cohen, Alex Anastasi, Andrew Craig, Joe Harley, Gretchen Anderson, Remy Ozer, Eileen Wheelhan, and Nikki Young. That's it. And that's people at Capital, not just Blue Note, I assume. But anyway, it's like a dozen people. So that's the Dirty Dozen. That's the whole company. Not a big company, but they do a lot for not being a big company. Here are the tracks on the back, and this is a very nice presentation. Okay, that's the first thing you get. It's a three-sided record, so one side has nothing on it. In fact, let's see what's on side D. Maybe it's autographed by everybody, or maybe it's just blank. They can't have left it just blank right after all this, right? So you get this kind of thing. You get a nice inner jacket. All right, let's see. Let's take it out and see what you got here. Side. No, they left it. No, it's no autograph. No one signed it. There's no like picture of an armadillo or Rudy Van Gelder's glasses or nothing. It's just plain. Interesting. Okay. And there's side C. Okay. Okay, next up you get this hand-sewn booklet here. It's hand-sewn. And I was told that Don Was sat at a Singer sewing machine and sewed up each one of these by himself, and I'm impressed. So let's see. Get this on the cover. We're going to get some archival lithographic prints of Lee Morgan taken by Francis Wolff in February 58 and one taken in September of 57. I look forward to opening those up. And then you get the credits right here of the editors, editor-in-chief, Meat and Potatoes, who did it. Marcus Miller contributed photographs. The chairman, so this is the Capital Group here. Therefore, most of the people on the other side were part of Blue Note. Heavenly Board of Governors. This is sweet. So Alfred Lyon, Francis Wolff, Bruce Lundvall, and Michael Kuskuna. Obviously, Michael just passed away recently. Bruce Lundvall, it's interesting. Bruce Lundvall lived on my street. I literally I jogged by his house right off of Manor Road. He was on not on Manor Road. He was on the street around from Manor Road. But I jogged by his house 3 times a week, not knowing that the house that was in there was Bruce Lundvall's house. And finally, I found out about it, and I got his phone number. Either that or I left a note in his mailbox. I don't remember, but I did hear from him. At that point, he was very, very sick. I think he had cancer. He had good days and bad days. And I did hear from him, and he said, yes, I want you to talk. I want to talk to you. So let's do this interview. Today's not a good day. I'm having a bad day. Try me next week, or whenever it was. He said to try him, and I did. And he had been moved to a hospice kind of facility, and then he was gone. It's such a shame that he passed away, obviously, but also a shame that I couldn't conduct an interview with the guy who resurrected Blue Note. I mean, he is responsible for the last resurrection of Blue Note that still exists today, and I couldn't get to talk to him. And he lived around the corner from me. That is, who else lives around the corner from? I better find out who else is around the corner from me that maybe I should interview. Okay, then we get what it's about. Then we get what's in this nice book here, which includes a letter from the publisher, Armand Morgan, with various essays by Wynton Marsalis, Randy Brecker, Jeremy Pelt, a bunch of other musicians, Art and Jazz by Greg Tate, Here Before and Forever, Echoes of McCoy Tyner in Africa, Seeing the Sound, the photography of Marcus Miller, At Eternity's Gate, David Frick essay, The History of Blue Note comic by Keith Henry Brown, A History of Blue Note as a comic. This Is Who I Am by Natalie Weiner. Okay. Here's a note from the publisher, Don Was. Is he hiding behind a bunch of cables? So Don does know that cables make a difference. All right, so here's this is going to be a short essay about the contents. Armand Morgan, half a century since his passing, Lee Morgan remains a guiding light for jazz and most brilliant trumpeters. By Wynton Marsalis. But what does he know? Search for the New Land. I'm looking forward to reading this. Randy Brecker wrote a piece about Blue Train. There they are. Ambrose Akamasier. I guess they decided to put as many difficult to pronounce names in here as possible, so that people like me trying to do a video about this book are having a terrible time pronouncing people's names. Tomcat, Ambrose Akinmusire. That's a very famous release. Let's see. Expubidant. This is VJ. This is an early Lee Morgan record. And of course, this is before he signed to Blue Note. And okay. I can't wait to read all of this. I'm sure I will come away after reading all of this with a greater appreciation of Lee Morgan. I certainly have almost all these records, and so the music is not a problem for me appreciating. But Search for the New Land by Chief Zan Atundi Ajua, another VJ thing with Jeremy Pelt. Another writing about Search for the New Land, and there's a very famous record right here, very famous Blue Note. Since I Fell for You, Marquis Hill, that's Candy, which of course is a great one from '58. These are all personal reminiscences, and there's something cool about that, because when a musician touches someone deeply, it's nice to hear about it from another musician. Morgan the Pirate, Keon Harold, all these interesting plays on Lee and Morgan, and okay, another great Lee Morgan picture from Search for the New Land, February '64. Where were you in February '64? Did you exist? I did. February '64. That's probably when I got home from high school, and the letter had come from Cornell saying that I did not get into the early admissions application. I applied for early admissions. And my father was nice enough to open the letter addressed to me, and I walked in the house, and he went, you didn't get in. Nope, you didn't get in. It was such a pleasant moment. I'll never forget. Okay, enough about me. Now, Greg Tate, who, he passed away in 2021, a young man, was a writer, musician, and cultural provocateur who lived in Harlem. And he wrote a piece about the enduring exchange between jazz and art. And here are some very famous Blue Note covers that were not Francis Wolff pictures, but rather this was Andy Warhol, who was a successful commercial illustrator in New York. And Reed Miles, who was very famous for Blue Note cover design, hired Andy Warhol to do these. That one is the most clearly Andy Warhol. Anyway, so that'll be an interesting thing to read. Okay. Here Before and Forever, Echoes of McCoy Tyner in Africa. Okay. This should be interesting. The very famous cover of National Geographic-esque cover extensions by McCoy Tyner. And expansions, extensions, and Asante. Three great McCoy Tyner albums. I bet you most of you have. And if you don't, why not? You should have these 3 albums. This will be an interesting thing to read. And then the photography of Marcus Miller, who, a famous bass player. Some pictures, personal reminiscent pictures taken by Mr. Miller. This is an essay that he wrote in 2020. So that just shows you how long it took to get this third set Blue Note review done. Herbie Hancock, Chick Corea, Harold Mayburn, Blue Note Jazz Club, New York, 2011. This will be fun to read. I'll obviously have to read it after I hang up on you. At Eternity's Gate, a mysterious jam session recording offers a revelatory portrait of prime Lee Morgan. So this is an essay about something that's included in this box and recorded at the Gate of Horn. Folk music, jazz, charcoal sandwiches. Okay. A very precious way to describe a club, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, here's the history of Blue Note, as told by Wayne Shorter. This looks like fun. For those of you who don't like to read too much, here you can look at pictures and anyway, that should be interesting to read. And there's a picture of Chick Corea, who passed away in February of 2021. And Wayne Shorter, who passed away in March of 2023. That was taken at the Kennedy Center. A wonderful shot. So that's what's in this booklet. I think it seems like a really wonderfully put together, thoughtful booklet. And it is about Blue Note. That's what this is supposed to be about, and it certainly is. And now we get to these lithographic pictures, certainly suitable for framing. From the archives. And there's Lee, probably at Rudy Van Gelder's famous Venetian blinds. I've told this story numerous times, but I'm going to tell it again for those of you who don't know it. I moved from California to New Jersey in 1986. I had a friend who had an apartment on Prospect Street in Hackensack. And it was going condo, but he couldn't be around for it because he had to go and do, he was a building supervisor. He had to leave town for about 6 months to a year, and he didn't want to give up the apartment. So I was moving east. He said, look, you can have my apartment. You just pay the rent. And that way, when it goes condo, I'll still be allowed to, I'll be able to buy the condo. I don't want to have to give this up. So I moved in, and I wasn't thinking about Rudy Van Gelder or Prospect Street or Prospect Avenue, whatever it was. And one day I'm walking down the street to go to the supermarket or go to the liquor store, whichever it was that was down the block on Prospect, and I passed by this house, and it above the door it said Van Gelder, and it was written in soot. I mean, it had been one of these wrought iron signs that was, the lettering was done on wrought iron, and it was down, and just the soot was there. And I go, could this be Rudy Van Gelder's house? And then I walked past the house, and sure enough, on the left side of the house were these two big double doors and an equipment ramp. I mean, how many houses have Van Gelder in the front and equipment ramp and double doors on the side? Very few. This is Rudy Van Gelder's house, and I'm saying to myself, I've got to take pictures of this. This is like a landmark. I got to take some pictures, but of course I didn't have. No one had a cell phone with cameras in it at that point in time. I mean, most people didn't even have cell phones at that point in time, or they had flip phones or whatever. And I just never did it. And then one day I walked by it, and it was gone. It had been raised for a professional building. And none of it was saved. I mean, the double doors should have been in the Smithsonian. The ramp going up should have been in the Smithsonian. Probably the Venetian blinds, which are iconic, should have gone. None of it did. And I only found out years later from somebody at the Van Gelder studio in Englewood Cliffs that Rudy had a brother, and they didn't get along, and his brother had the right to the house, and as some sort of punishment or whatever, just tore it down, and did not bother to save any of it. It's so annoying. Isn't that annoying? Yeah. All right. And there's another picture of Lee. These are two beautiful photographs that you get as part of the set. Have to have those framed, I suppose. All right. And that's that. And I'll put it back in there more carefully after I hang up from you. And here it is, live jam at the Gate of Horn, Chicago, probably 1950. So here it is, live jam at the Gate of Horn, Chicago, Illinois, probably 1959, with Lee Morgan, Ira Sullivan, Nicky Hill, Bobby Timmons, Spanky DeBrest, and Philly Joe Jones. They do Bye Bye Blackbird, A Night in Tunisia, and the theme. I don't know what this is. There's an essay about it in the book. I'm going to read that. I'm going to listen to that. I'm looking forward to that. Don't slide away and fall on the floor. And then there's another record here. This is Sonic Boom, Lee Morgan, Cedar Walton, Ron Carter, Billy Higgins. That's a nice group if you ask me, which you didn't, but I'm telling you. LT 987. I'm not sure. Let's see. This is notes by Michael Kuskinis. Obviously, this is one of these records that was recorded in 1967, but probably didn't come out much later. There's a description of what happened here by Kuskinis. So this is another valuable record to have. How good is it? I don't know. Why wasn't it originally released when it was recorded? I don't know. Maybe I'll learn that when I read it. So that's what's in here. Oh, there's two other things. There's a 45, and Lee Morgan, Jackie McLean, Hank Mobley, Cedar Walton, Paul Chambers, and Billy Higgins, recorded in '66, mastered by Kevin Gray. It says LP mastered. I think what you meant was 45, but that's okay. Huh. Interesting. I don't know what that's about. And then for those who must have it, here is the three-sided LP on a CD. All right? And they thoughtfully include, look, a 45 RPM adapter that you can put on your, it's cool because it looks like one of those adapters that goes inside the single, but it's not because it's too thick. So you'd put this on your turntable, and when you're playing 45s, it looks like one of those adapters. That's very cool. So that's what you get in the box set. And I don't, anybody wants to try to add up, make it like The Price is Right. How much is this worth? That's not what this is about. This is about something else. This is about celebrating the heritage of Blue Note Records. And there's a lot to listen to here, and there's also a lot to read about. And for anybody who buys this, I'm sure, and if they're a Blue Note fan, I'm sure you'll come away from the reading and the listening having learned a great deal about Blue Note. And so we should thank Don Was and everybody else at Blue Note involved in this. and I am doing that right now. And thank you for watching. And now I'm going to play this stuff and see what I got. Okay? Okay, bye. We'll do one of these. Here, who's more important? The artist or the person taking the selfie? That's so ridiculous.